one of my mentors is Leo Muhammad.
Yes.
And he was one of the first people to introduce satire to black
Absolutely.
The first to actually do it. I mean, Felix Dexter was doing it on another level, right? Yeah. He was talking to he was talking to Middle England.
Very fun.
Yeah, he was talking to Middle England. Yeah. Whereas
Leo Muhammad was talking to us.
He was talking to us, right? And I learned so much of him. And it wasn't until later did I understand where Kwaku was coming from.
Yeah.
Because of the likes of Robin
of Leo Muhammad, absolutely.
Who was doing the teachings, yeah?
You see the lineage?
Yes, sir, I do. Yeah.
And I come from a lineage that has been taught by Kwaku.
Okay.
So nothing comes from nowhere. So when I was 18, although I was selling pirates and porn, I was in Panther UK getting a political education.
Talk about that.
I joined Panther because Stephen Lawrence was murdered. I won't say when he was murdered. It was because he was murdered. He's from my area. He looks like me. His birthday's 7 days after mine. You're looking at a 46-year-old man who's who he could have been. This is why I was so driven. When I say I value my life, so I must value my peers' lives. It's going to drive me to go in a different direction and make fundamental decisions that change and frame my life. So I joined Panther UK on Landor Road in Stockwell, May 7, 1993, and went on the Stephen Lawrence March in Welling, May 8, 1993. Got my eye bust by feds with a truncheon because I wasn't quick enough to get out of the way when somebody screamed charge. Okay. And got my political education there and ended up giving speeches for the next 2 years at Brixton Rec, SOAS, Hammersmith and West College. So petty crime during the day in South London. And then I would give a talk in the Brixton Rec, or I'd be in SOAS University in the debating teams and then playing chess in the bar where I realized I could buy a liquor for 50p a pint, whereas I've got to pay my £2 in South London.
Okay.
So I felt like a god going into the bar with 20 quid.
Okay. And dear standing, I just want everyone to know that the gentleman with the briefcase, he's our historian, our black historian, goes by the name of Robin Walker. And he teaches, where's the school that he teaches? Croydon.
It's in Croydon.
He's somebody that I'm definitely going to want to bring on Keep It Real to educate us about how he got educated. So important. And then the young gentleman right off screen, it might be left off screen to you guys, short guy with the leg sticking out of his ears, that's Andrew Muhammad. You know, having a big influence and a big impact on our younger generation, especially when it comes to our boys.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to our boys. You know,
everybody there that day. You had Nubians, Asari St. Hill, who is next to Andrew Muhammad as a Pan-Africanist. Very serious caliber people. And because I'm privy to have phone calls anytime that is required, because they've blessed me with that privilege, I don't have the excuse of not delivering solutions because they're all out there. There's nothing new under the sun. There's somebody in our community that does this thing at the highest echelons in the European world that is now delivering the intellectual capital for us. So right. I don't take
what I want everybody to actually recognize here is that Dean is an architect. Yeah. He's not a man who pushes himself up front to be leader. Right? There are more charismatic individuals who do that job. Yeah. So understand where the strategy and the philosophy is coming from in terms of us moving forward as a black UK nation. Right. And that's why I feel very proud and privileged that you've actually come on and took the time to talk to a satirist like myself. Right.
I appreciate that, King.
Because people confuse the fact that I'm a comedian with the fact that I'm actually quite politically aware.
I don't.
right? No, but but then it's difficult when you go into a comedy arena and you say the things that I do, and I know that I'm not anticipating laughter. I'm anticipating applause, right? That's what I'm looking for, because I know once I've got the applause, all right. Yeah, but I just want people to recognize and understand just how important a role that you play in what could happen over the next 20 or 30 years.
I'll be frank. For me, it's not that.
That's the most important. Sorry, I'll allow you to.
I just say this. The most important thing for me is adoption, because what traditionally we do is a certain portion of us will get behind an individual as an avatar, and that's fantastic. You put the avatar up front, then you kill them dead, and they go into history. And then when they're actually dead, we all cry and we feel bad and we say, oh, we should have done more. I'm not interested in that. We've seen it a million times. All I'm interested in, like me, hate me, I really don't give a damn. Just adopt. Agree in principle with everything that's being said. Fantastic. Adopt and apply the solutions to your life. That is it. Because once we have a model where we're actually utilizing it, and it can make a marked difference to our lives in terms of the quality of our life or our socioeconomic ability, that's it. So membership in ADPAC is £5 a month for individuals, which will give them access to online training, monthly meetings, and obviously all of the advocacy that we build out. For organizations, it's £15. What we're doing with organizations is bringing them into the various initiatives and pipelines, and then creating the consortiums to go for the joint bids together. So whereas individually somebody might be able to get 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, we're only interested in going for £500,000 bids, £1 million bids as consortiums to deliver amongst the delivery partners. Excuse me. And then friends of ADPAC are institutions who aren't necessarily us, but they have access to have conversations with us. So civil service, banks, and they want to talk about the African Caribbean issues, we will give them intelligence and work with them.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No, that's okay. I feel as though what I've actually took advantage of you, Dean.
No, it's all right.
I've actually took advantage because, as everybody knows, normally when I come up to the hour, I say, right? But I felt that this was such an important, it's the most important interview I've ever had, to be honest with you. And I'd like to think that people are going to share this. It's important that people share, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're in Facebook or whatever, because, information trickles down.
Yeah.
And I want people to see your name on anything. And I want people to want to engage with what you're doing for us, to be honest with you, and as you said, you reach out to the influencers who influence the influencers, and I know the role that I play. I'm an influencer who influences.
Absolutely.
I know that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I have the numbers to show it, but trust me, I see my work on other people's platforms, so I know what I'm saying.
Definitely.
Yeah? So it's important that the people who are in the room now understand that you are influencers and you will influence the influencers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like when you throw a stone into water, it has this ripple effect. Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm 100% sure that this interview will do tonight, and I really hope it propels and it galvanizes the community into understanding what is required of us as elders, because our parents came in 58. A lot of us was born in the 60s. Yeah, a lot of us are now house owners. Yeah. So it's a question of what is the legacy you're going to leave behind, because if all you're going to leave behind is the house, you might as well just fuck off. As far as I'm concerned,
a shame.
You've left nothing. You've absolutely left nothing. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I find myself in that position and I feel disgusted with myself. But I'm awake now.
I say is this, and another thing, I'm glad you said that you're disgusted with yourself. Not for why some people would say, it's because you're bringing up a point for me. We got to be a little bit kinder to ourselves as well. And we've got to recognize that we're merely representative of all other ethnicities. We do the same shit that everybody does, but we're a lot harder on ourselves. And I think that's my missus. Comedy and politics go hand in hand. Sometimes, baby. Sometimes. Is
that the missus?
Yeah, that's my missus.
Lovely woman, man.
Yeah, she is. So when we are more humane to ourselves and we are more humane to each other, there's a huge value in that we raise our capital. So this lady, for instance, she will chop me down like an axeman to a tree. But
you think I don't know?
She's also my biggest supporter and will give me the constructive criticism to keep my feet on the ground when I need it. Otherwise, I'd be crazier than a crackhead. My ego would be on steroids. Okay. So she keeps me humble. And it's very necessary for a man to be in this position and remain humble, because you run away with yourself. You can see it with brothers acting like rappers in the States. You're saying you're the prince of Pan-Africanism and you're arguing, but you're cussing in public. That's a phone call. Phone that man. There are men that I do not get on with at a particular juncture. More than that was the reparations march. I recommend we all go to the reparations march and adopt this. Because if that money drops, I should say when that money drops, when we manage to extrapolate it from there,
it's a when, bro.
We will change all of our lives and our grandchildren's lives in closing the wealth gap by creating parity with all of the institutions of our own creation that we don't have at the moment. But the woman keeps me grounded and she keeps me humble.